Hi, I'm Mandy Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Cancer for May 2017. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, see what's new on my blog, and definitely sign up for my free email newsletter, which makes you part of my community and gives you the wonderful perk of getting my in-depth write-up of the upcoming stars a month early so you can have a visual on the things that are coming so you can have it for your planning purposes. So what's going on in the month of May? We've got movement and manifestation to the max. That is what is in order now. We've been waiting for a long time, since the end of last year, for these retrograde energies of the personal planets to start to shift. This is huge. We've been in a very kind of mellow, in the backdrop, working on things closer to home, closer to our being. And now this is the time where we're pushing those things out into the world. Great launching pads, great opportunities for amazing transitions, major crossroads. So I want to talk about all of the aspects that I think that are relevant, but before I get there, I want to first talk about something specific for Cancer. So I'm calling the theme of the month for Cancer, the world is watching. And that is because all of you, early, middle, and late degree placements, have a very strong presence in your 10th house. The 10th house is the opposite energy of the 4th house, which is the Cancer house. The Cancer house is home, family, internal. Cancer is out in the world, external, material, versus, the emotional energies of Cancer. So this energy is really placing your individual purpose and mission out in the world where people can see you, people can see what you're doing. And this is very strongly accentuated at this time. So if you've been working on things in the backdrop, this is a time when things are going to start to come push out. And it's very good timing for that. We want to work a little bit around that Mercury retrograde because May 3rd is when it goes direct. So you want to leave several days around there before you start really busting a move on stuff. I like May 9th to start your pushing out because there's a nice aspect in that day and it's getting more clear from the shadow period. And we do have to deal with that shadow period until the 21st, and then Venus retrograde shadow period goes through the 19th. But you can see that we're kind of coming out of this fog of this, inward focus. So the 10th house is about career, work, life purpose. It's your job, it's your vocation, but it also can be the energy of what you feel like you're here to do, which may or may not have anything to do with your job. So you could start to have more clarity about that. Whenever I see things going on in the 10th house, I always like to mention one of my all-time favorite astrology books by Jan Spiller. She's amazing. Is called Astrology for the Soul. Astrology for the Soul talks about your North Node placement. Your North Node is your highest expression in this lifetime, right? Who would want to know about that? So if you haven't already, if you're asking that question, like, what the heck am I doing here? What am I supposed to be doing? What's tripping me up? You can get more insight into that by getting that book, and she'll show you how to find your North Node placement. And there are more potentials to go deeper into your North Node if you know more about astrology and know the house that the North Node is in and the cusps, etc. But even without any of that, you can get the book. She'll help you find in the book where your North Node is. And then there's like 30 pages for each sign so you'd have at least 30 pages of what you're supposed to be doing, where you get tripped up, what the mission is, what the challenge is, what patterns you need to break. So I highly recommend that for you if you're seeking being more in alignment with what you're supposed to be doing. Another house that's very strongly lit up for Cancer placements, and again, this is all Cancer placements, early, middle, and late, is the 11th house. And the 11th house has to do with friendships, social circles, both online and in person, community-based projects. This has to do with working in a group, either leading a group or being a part of a group. Of course, if you're leading it, you're still part of it. So, anything having to do with groups. Internet-based projects, humanitarian projects, things with technology, anything having to do with brilliant ideas, futuristic things, inventions, things like that. So anything in those arenas could be lit up beautifully for you at this time. And again, it is kind of a time to start to take some physical action, so just follow the flow. I always like to give you the dates of the transits, but do know that you need to use your intuition to guide yourself for your striking points, because we always tend to have a lot of sweet aspects happening at the same time as challenging aspects. And if astrologers give you a nice date to do something and you're having a terrible day, maybe it's not the best day for you to do it. Your personal experience is very relevant. It's the most relevant thing. So if you're feeling really strong and ready on a couple of days before it's supposed to be a great transit, maybe that's the manifestation of the transit for you. Sometimes we do feel that before it actually happens. So just stay in tune with the signs from spirit, and ask for the signs and read them and follow along with this information. And then it helps to further, guide you along smoothly to where you're trying to go. So we also have the full moon on May 10th, and the full moon for early and middle, but not late degree placements. Early and middle degree placements will have that full moon in the 5th house. Late degree placements will have that full moon in the 4th house. Early and middle degree placements take us about to like the first 20 degrees of the sign, or the first 20 days of the sign. So everybody except those last 10 days of the sign, or if you're watching for your rising sign, the last 10 degrees, will be experiencing the full moon in the 5th house. And the rest of you will have it in the 4th house. So full moons bring completion, fruition, manifestation, something culminating. Sometimes they bring drama and stress. Sometimes they bring amazing things that you've been working really hard for that come into creation. So the area of life that we're talking about here, where this focus is going to be, this fullness, is in the house of children, creative projects, romance, fun, hobbies. For some people, this can also be addictions. This can come up there because it's the house of pleasures, and sometimes things that we are very pleasurable get taken to excess and become addictions. So that's where that goes. But anything involving conception, creation, child rearing, and that is both for actual children or for creative projects that are like your babies, myself included. Even though I have my own children, I know that when I have a creative project, it's like a baby to you. And so the house of creating a project is the same thing as the house of creating a physical, a child. So that's what's happening here. You've got, a child might need attention. Maybe you weren't as aware of something going on that really needs to be addressed, and it comes to a culmination. Or maybe they're graduating, this is the time when graduations occur for many people. And so they could be reaching a milestone in their development, and it could be very, bittersweet. A lot of times full moons are bittersweet, where it's fun and nice, but it's also sad and weird, So you could have a little bit of drama or a manifestation as far as a romantic relationship. Even though relationship houses are the 7th and 8th houses, romance, true love is actually housed in the 5th house. So that could be accentuated here. So for your later degree placements where that fullness, fruition, completion is happening in the 4th house, that could bring a family drama or a family fulfillment. Maybe you've been looking for the perfect home and you could find it under this full moon. Maybe you've been working on a house project or are going to take a trip or do something fun as a family, and it could be something emotional, positive there. It could be, some trouble with your parents, or it could be an amazing family experience. But that's what's in order for this fullness, completion, fruition. I always like to leave a little room around the full moons myself, I don't like to plan important things a couple of days before, because I want to be present with whatever it is that's coming to culmination. And whether it's positive or challenging, if you schedule a whole bunch of things, you don't really have time to feel. And the full moons are always about feeling. So those are the things specific to Cancer. Now I want to go into detail about all the transits that I think are notable and why I think they're notable and what you can do with them, including this amazing trine between Saturn and Uranus, which is very rare and very powerful to assist with harmonious transitions, crossroads. So I'm calling the theme of the month of May for all signs, movement and manifestation to the max. This is the month that we have been waiting for through all of the retrograde cycles that started at the end of 2016. So there are definitely going to be major opportunities for the launches, for the trips, for the action, for the activity, for the big decisions. And we have some really amazing transits that line up with this clearing of the retrogrades. So I'll just go in order about the notable dates and the transits on those dates. Do know that when you sign up for my free email newsletter on my website, anniehelpsyou.com, I do a write-up, a general write-up for the month ahead, so that you have a lot of the points that I talk about written down, and it's easier to refer to for your planning purposes, so you can check that out too. So on May 3rd, this is the day that Mercury goes direct, and Mercury goes direct at 24 degrees of Aries. So if you have any planets close to there, of course, you'll be affected more than others, or in aspect to them to that degree. But everyone will likely experience more chaos around the days that Mercury goes direct. So it would be a false idea to think, oh, today Mercury is direct, now today or tomorrow I will go and do all these things and make all these decisions and try to get all this stuff done. You'll feel it when you pay attention that the energies are very chaotic the days before and the days after a planet goes retrograde, or the days before or the days after it goes direct. So I say give it a few days, several days after the 3rd, before you start taking action. I know your little horsey's chomping at the bit, waiting through 5 months of retrograde energies to try to do things, but do wait just a little longer. On May 9th, we've got the first day that I consider really, really good to start doing some things. You have to feel in to see if your launches or things like that would be good on this day, but I like a little bit later in the month because the shadow energies start to clear more. But this is certainly a day when the Sun in Taurus makes a trine to Pluto in Capricorn, where you have tremendous power aligning with your desires. So you could, just feel into it. This could be a day to do some of the things on your list. On May 10th, we have the full moon at 20 degrees of Scorpio, and at the same time we have a Uranus and Mercury conjunction. So full moons usually bring fullness, completion, drama. Sometimes they bring happy tears, sometimes they bring stress, but there is this fullness, this completion, this coming to fruition of anything in the area of Scorpio. So something having to do with an intimate relationship, a business partnership, a financial relationship or agreement, something with esoteric studies. Many people can have major spiritual transformation that occurs at this time, or insights that occur. If someone is doing research or looking into a mystery, sometimes this energy can bring answers that you've been looking for, that you've been delving deep, searching for. The fact that Uranus and Mercury are going to make this conjunction at the same time always alerts me to watch your head and your brain, because Uranus in Aries, Uranus brings surprises, it could bring jolts. Mercury is like your movement, and it just always behooves us to guard your head, especially during this time, especially since the full moon is bringing excess of drama and emotions. And sometimes, everybody knows that people get a little more crazy at the full moon, right? Even people that don't believe in astrology know that that's true. So I like to leave a little space around the full moons so that whatever comes up, you can be fully present for them. So that's May 10th, the full moon in Scorpio. On May 11th, we have a square with Mars in Gemini to Neptune in Pisces. And so how I see this energy coming together as a potential is information overload, action overload, things to do, just kind of energy and movement combining with chaos and confusion, so this might be a day to step back. I always like to remind you that even though I give you the dates of the transits, sometimes we feel the energy of the planets coming together on the days before or the days after the actual transit. So you really need to feel in with your intuition if a day is good for something. Just because we say today is a good day in the cosmos, if you're having a bad day that day and things are not flowing for you, maybe you don't want to align with trying to make a big decision or do something on that day just because it happens to be a quote good transit. Sometimes you'll feel the good energy days before, so if you're feeling it, everything is aligning. You don't have to necessarily wait for the exact day the transit happens. If it's a positive transit, you can take advantage of that energy when you feel it beforehand as well. So I just wanted to point that out. So this Mars in Gemini and Neptune in Pisces aspect could bring some action and information overload. So just kind of draw back a little bit. That is the other thing to know about this month. Although there are definitely energetic clearings going on, the planets are going direct that were retrograde, the shadows, or at least Mercury is, the Venus retrograde shadow transit is going to be over this month. We'll talk about that later. Mercury retrograde transit or shadow will be over later. There's this clearing out going, kind of opening up some room for action and things to happen. But this energy is interspersed with these little challenging moments. So you really just have to feel your way through to see which is a good time to do what and to take best advantage of the good energy when you're feeling it. Okay, so also on May 11th, Mercury in Aries is going to make a trine to Saturn and Sag. And so this energy is really good for good news and forward movement, especially on long-term projects. So the fact that it's so close to the full moon and this other aspect with Mars and Neptune, you just have to feel your way through. Feel when you're feeling that good energy flowing, then jump on that and take your actions at that time. On the 14th, the nodes, I started talking about the North and South node in transit last month in the April report. The North node in transit shows us keys to our highest expression. And right now, on May 14th, the nodes change to the polarity of Leo and Aquarius. And so when the North Node is transiting in Leo, it's pointing for all of us to have more energy towards following our bliss. That's what Leo energy is about, is living in this constant manifestation of these true desires. A true desire is not necessarily a chocolate cake, or a purse or something like that. The true desires, the ones that spirit wants for us, aligns for us. And who knows, maybe a purse or a chocolate cake could be part of that if it's part of something bigger for somebody. I have no judgment on the desires. We just have to be careful that addictions don't cloud the way of true desires that spirit wants for us, So when we really, really, really want something, it's usually because spirit really, really wants that for us. And when we align our energies with where spirit is directing us, we become an unstoppable force for manifestation. So with the transiting node moving into Leo, we're all going to have years of support for following our bliss. It reminds me of the quote by Joseph Campbell. If you haven't studied his work, he's amazing. He basically, this is, loosely, he talks about how when you follow your bliss, doors open that weren't there before. Not even doors necessarily that were closed, just like doors open from places where there just weren't any doors. When you follow your bliss, you align with that energy, you supercharge yourself for manifestation. So this is really good news for me for assisting everyone in following that bliss, because the universe is really supporting this at this time. So on May 18th, we have a nice angle between the Sun in Taurus and Chiron in Pisces. Chiron is an asteroid, it's the wounded healer. And it talks about how our weak spots can actually be our greatest strengths. So when we have a nice angle here, it's showing us that we have a chance to easily convert a weakness to a strength. That's what Chiron to me is all about. So when you have something at a nice angle to it, it means that conversion can be relatively easy. When you have Chiron in a challenging angle, then that conversion can be a little bit stressful. But this is like a nice little sweet spot here, in the middle of the month, where something that was serving to hinder you actually serves as your springboard. So around May 19th, we have this amazing long-term story, beautiful aspect between Saturn and Sagittarius and Uranus and Aries. So we've talked about outer planets, how when they get together, they create these long-term challenges, which could be opportunities or just straight opportunities. So this is just straight up opportunity for harmonious transitions. The first time Saturn and Uranus came together in this configuration in recent times was December 24th of 2016. So here now, May 19th, is our second run of this story. And then the third run they'll connect again on November 11th. And they won't come together again like this until 2047. So this is a really rare aspect, and it is one that is a theme for the whole year from the end of 2016 through the end of 2017. And this month of May, and actually for the end of April, all of May, and almost half of June, Saturn and Uranus are in this amazing close proximity that's just opening up to opening doors, just like we were talking about for following your bliss. So it's really supercharged. And so the energies are also both in fire. And fire means action. You know, if you know anyone or you have a lot of fire energy of your own, this is an action-oriented energy. Like, what are we going to do? How are we going to do it? Let's do something. So when you have these outer planets in this wonderful aspect, they want to help you do something really big. So this is the type of energy that's amazing for all huge transitions, like major crossroads. Changes in all areas of life are very much supported. And now that we have the personal planet retrogrades clearing up, it's really opening up the way for these changes that have been pending to really start to manifest. The same day, May 19th, we have this opposition with Venus in Aries to Jupiter in Libra. This is the opposition that I worry least about in general, because Venus and Jupiter are the two benefics, the nice planets basically of the zodiac. So when they get together, even in an ornery angle, it's not as much of a challenge or an issue as oppositions with other planets are, because they kind of like each other, you know? So I could see two main possible manifestations from this. Of course, there are unlimited manifestations, but one could be overindulgence in fun. So just excess of fun, spending, partying, whatever. That is more common at this time. Just having way too much fun. And the other way I can see this happening is a burnout from balancing me and we. Like, you could be getting in a really good groove with tending to your own things and tending to your stuff with relationship. Because Aries and Libra are this, this polarity of me and we. So you could just be burnt out from balancing me and we. And that could be how it manifests. And this same day, on May 19th, is when the Venus shadow period from the retrograde passes completely. So ever since April 15th, when Venus went direct, we've been in this shadow period where, even though it was moving forward, it was kind of still getting back to full strength. So now on this day, it's back at full strength, and we're not going to have to work with this for, a long time, until the end of 2018, as far as the Venus retrograde goes. On May 21st, the Mercury shadow clears. So in that time between, the first few days after Mercury goes direct, so May 3rd, after that, I'm saying like May 9th is a good time to start, pushing some things forward. From May 9th until the 21st, you're still having a little bit of shadow stuff to deal with, but it doesn't mean you can't get some stuff done. But now, as of the 21st, you have this completely open period from personal planets retrograde or their shadow periods until July 24th. So make the most of your taking action, doing things, going places, making decisions, moving forward. Then on May 25th, we have the new moon at almost 5 degrees of Gemini. New moons always bring new opportunities, and the more you make your wishes in alignment with the energy of the sign, the more the universe can help them come true. So you get 10 new moon wishes. You can check out my blog called Making Powerful New Moon in Gemini Wishes, or you can just go to anniehelpsyou.com, click on blog, and then put a search for New Moon in Gemini, and you'll find it. So you can see the types of things that are Gemini related that you can wish for that help to push your wishes even further. That new moon is also squaring Pluto. So there could be some challenges with people, authority figures, or unknown pieces, or some sort of forces that seem to be working against you. This is one of those examples this month, as I was saying, there's like all these energies moving forward, but they're like little hindrances, little obstacles in the way. So if you're feeling a little bit of a pushback, then just honor the flow and just wait until you're feeling the flow move forward again, instead of pushing against it. On May 28th through the 29th, Mars in Gemini is going to be opposing Saturn in Sagittarius. So this could be another one of those hiccups in progress where, Saturn, this taskmaster, comes in and opposes Mars, this planet that wants to move forward and take action. It's like a little bit of, hey, you have to do something with your responsibility here, or here's a little piece you didn't keep up with that you have to take care of before you can continue spiraling forward. And it is very much a spiraling energy because the energy of Gemini moves in an upward spiral. So you'll notice this month is just full of, I mean, even though we have energy in Taurus as well, which is more grounded, there's more of a predominant energy in like the Aries and Gemini, which is like making everything spin, you know, busyness, lots of information, lots of talking, lots of thinking, lots of doing, lots of going places. So then on May 30th, Mars and Gemini will make a nice angle to Uranus, and this is a really great day to put a brilliant plan in action. Uranus rules taking chances, taking risks, doing something forward thinking, and Mars again rules action. So when they come together in a nice angle, this gives really good support for taking a brilliant idea and putting it into action. On the 31st, Mercury in Taurus will make a lovely trine with Pluto in Capricorn. So this is like grounded action fueled by emotional or lesser seen support. You know, Pluto is stuff in the backdrop. It could be spiritual, mystical stuff. It could be, you know, a person or an entity with money that is supporting you. But it's something that is positively expressing or positively supporting your expression at this time. So these are the things that are most on my mind. Again, the theme this month is movement and manifestation to the max. I hope that this helps you to take more advantage of the opportunities that will be at play this month. If you haven't already signed up for my free email newsletter, then definitely do that on my website, anniehelpsyou.com, because you get the write-up of the month that's coming. I always send that out a month early, just like I do the horoscopes a month early, so that you can prepare. And some people need to see things more than just hear them, and that written report will give you information in a visual way. Also, I might have some slots still open in my Creating Successful Online Business if you'd like to be free from your geography. I'm not yet enrolling for my astrology apprenticeship program and my coach certification course, but it's coming soon when I will be. So if you think you might be interested in those courses, they do fill up quickly. You can go to my website and click on anniehelpsyou.com, click on Work With Me, and send me an email through where it says this class is full and in progress. If you send me an email through there, I'll put you on the list to have first chance at open slots when they come, if you're really interested in working with me. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.